The most drama ever on paternity court.
How was you looking out for me?
Look.
How come I had to find out for somebody else? Why you come to me like a real man and tell me?
Clean your hands with us and forget about us. She didn't lose her son. I did. He was my baby that I lost. I want to grieve my baby. Just lost him 6 months ago. Let me grieve him.
Mr. Baker, you are not
Oh!
her father.
That's what I'm talking about.
Head over heels in love with a woman twice his age and backstabbed by his own best friend. This Atlanta man wants to know if he is the father of the defendant's 2-year-old daughter. The plaintiff started his betrayal story like this.
Her personality, I really was intrigued by her energy. She's like the life of the party, but her mind is what captured my heart. But after finding out all the stuff that she did, I look at her like a dirty dish rag trying to wash clean dishes.
I know he didn't go there.
But the self-proclaimed cougar had no shame about her game. She admitted that she cheated. However, Miss Woods never imagined that she would end up getting pregnant at the age of 43. Still, she was adamant that the plaintiff is the father.
Sleep with his best friend?
I'm blaming it on the alcohol.
You're not the first in this courtroom.
The thing of it is, we had a little too much to drink, and everything is about being at my house, throwing parties, inviting everybody over to my house. And all this took place after I'm a mother of 11 kids before I had Trinity. So I decided at the age of 40 years old that I was gonna be the life of the party.
Even the judge could see how hard all of this was for the alleged father. Mr. Baker told the court how excited he was about having the baby. The guy was there for every little bit because he had no idea about the defendants cheating on him.
I was really serious about it. 8 months into the pregnancy, I get a phone call from my cousin. Say she got something to tell me. Go ahead, just tell me what's good. Guess what she told me? She had a conversation with Jimmy, and that Jimmy admitted to her that she slept with Janine.
Mr. Dudley.
Not only that, she seen her in the club. This is stuff I didn't know. She all in the club. Remember, she life of the party, dances.
Yes.
She even left the club with a dude.
Their own love started from a one-night stand, and then it bloomed into something permanent, adding a kid to the mix and making it a lifetime commitment. Or at least that's what Mr. Baker was thinking.
When she told me she was pregnant, I was excited. One of my exes, she was pregnant, had a miscarriage. The second time, I was actually in the hospital holding the baby. Found out that wasn't my child. So I refused to play the fool and go through that again without being certain.
He's not on a birth certificate, okay?
So he wasn't on the birth certificate. This brought up the conception part. So the calendar showed that she slept with men in the same proximity. That's why the judge called Mr. Dudley in. But when he got there, all hell broke loose.
I just try to look out for him, make sure you know what I'm saying,
looking out
watch
for
out
me,
for
bro?
him. Yeah, bro.
You was looking out for me.
Yeah, bro.
How was you looking out for me?
You got a little.
If that's the case, if you was looking out for me, why you didn't tell me? How come I had to find out for somebody else?
Hey, bro, I'm tell you like this here. It happens like that sometimes.
Why you didn't tell me? Why you
Because-
come to me like a real man and tell me?
Well, Jimmy claimed that he was actually trying to look out for him and to expose the toxic nature of Mr. Woods. Nonetheless, Mommy here refused to be painted as the villain in the story.
How you gonna expose me? You ain't want to expose me, baby. You want to sleep with me like everybody else.
Hey, you look nice and everything. That wasn't what I was trying to do
You know
at
what
that
it
point
was?
in
You
time.
been staying to see me.
So hold on.
You got 11
You
children.
wanted to break us up.
Yes,
My kids
man.
grown on their own. I only
That
have
man
5
ain't got
at
no
home.
kids. Why you trying to tie that
kids
man
are
down like
grown on
that?
their own.
Yeah, order in the court, please. The judge made it clear that there was no bigger person in this mess. It's just grown-ups making wrong decisions and little children paying for them. While baby mama testified she was sure that the plaintiff was the only potential father. Let's see if she's telling the truth.
When it comes to 2-year-old Trinity Wood, Mr. Baker, you are not her father.
That's what I'm talking about.
Miss Santos was in a big mess as her secret baby daddy passed away. Plus, the family of the deceased father refused to accept the baby. Why were they doing so? Because for Grandma, the child was a betrayal of trust. And we know how that goes when such sentiments are involved. There is good drama coming.
It was such a secret because me and Raymond grew up together from Pampers.
Like cousins.
Like cousins. That's why it was such a secret. We don't have blood in our system. We don't have the same blood running through our system.
No, you don't have the
But
same
we
blood.
did grew up together. That's why it was such a secret. That's why I kept this pregnancy such a secret.
Baby Mama and Mr. Cologne were like cousins, and clearly they crossed a line mingling like that. But in the plaintiff's defense, they weren't actually related. Moreover, it was the alleged father who pushed Miss Santos's feelings. which the distressed defendant was not ready to buy at all.
Very disrespectful. You know, if he wanted to be with you, you should have told him, no, we're family.
No, he was so persistent on trying to be with me that I gave in.
So, Miss Santos,
So you just
we're
went with the
not
flow.
blood. We're
So
not
the
blood.
bottom
that
line-
was my whole thing. We're not blood.
but in the end, you did give in and you slept with him.
I did.
Yeah, I know it sounds pretty simple, right? Grew up together and fell in love. Well, it wasn't, as Miss Santos was cheating on her boyfriend and initially acted like Juju was his.
You were in a relationship with somebody else.
Yes, I was. And Raymond knew that.
Sexually active with that person as
Yes.
well as Mr. Cologne.
Well, that's my case.
This was around the time of conception.
Yes. I told Raymond that I was pregnant or whatever because me and Raymond was really close.
If she believed another man was the father, then what changed her mind? Well, it turns out that her ex-boyfriend wanted nothing to do with Julius. This left both mommy and baby on the street, after which Mr. Cologne came to their rescue. Nonetheless, Mama Cologne mentioned a crucial part Miss Santos missed.
Then she was alone for a little while. She hooked up with another man that she was living with, that Raymond was his friend. So Raymond would come out of work and go to their house to play little video games. True or false?
It's true.
So you were with someone else before you were Raymond.
Okay, but that
So
has
Raymond
nothing
was your
to do
third
with
man.
this.
Raymond is not the father of this baby. I'm sorry.
Ramon being the baby daddy was a no-go zone for Mary Lou because Juju looked nothing like the rest of the Cologne family. Furthermore, the grandma was adamant that if her son was a father to any child in the world, he would have never hidden it from his mother.
If he thought by any slim chance Julius is my son, let me go talk to my mom and dad and see if they'll help me pay a DNA test if I can be positive that it is my son. He could have gone to City Hall and signed his name on the birth certificate. If Raymond thought that it was his son, that it was definitely his son, he would have talked to us and told us.
However, it was revealed that the perfect son moved out of his home from Miss Cologne on Mother's Day. Later, she found out that Ramon moved just to be with the plaintiff. Well, that's a pretty clear sign of them being more than just friends, huh?
He put a roof over her head. Apparently, they were just roommates in the beginning, and then the relationship started. When I was told that they were living together, no. They're cousins, they cannot live together.
So nobody except mommy and daddy knew about the affair, right? Well, that's the twist, as the auntie of Julius testified that her brother told her about his son, and that her mother was in denial, because in her eyes, her son wouldn't do anything like that.
Whatever she says, she's right. You know what I'm saying? But
Now
she's
that's
right.
a good
my
daughter,
mom.
isn't it, Miss Cologne? You know what side your bread is buttered on, right?
My brother told me from the beginning that's his baby. You know what I'm saying?
There was a lot
And
of
he took
confidence
care of
between
him. Juju, still to this day, he asks for Poppy. And who's Poppy? My brother.
Still, none of this was convincing enough for the defendant, because in Miss Cologne's eyes, her baby Angel could do no wrong, and she blamed Miss Santos for brewing all the drama for money.
If he is, then we will help the child. And if it's not, so please leave us alone. Just leave us alone. That's all. If the baby is not Raymond's, leave us alone. That's all I want. You know, clean your hands with us and forget about us. She didn't lose her son. I did. He was my baby that I lost. I want to grieve my baby.
Confusion and negation are running too much in this case. Though the judge felt bad for both sides, it was clear all of this quarreling was the result of the potential father hiding the truth and baby mama not going for a DNA test before. But it wasn't too late. Let's get to that envelope.
It has been determined that Mr. Raymond Cologne is not the father.
Little Jordan lost her chance at paternity when her potential father kicked her mother out of his house out of nowhere. So, mommy's in the court to set the record straight, because she knows that Gibbs is the father, and he can't back out baby girl so easily.
You're in a relationship. He's the one for me. Then he goes to a spiritual convention.
Yes.
And comes home.
Yeah, he told me he had to go because he was working on himself or whatever. So I was like, well, it's late. Can I just wait till the morning, just go to my grandmother's house? Because, you know, it was late.
It's middle of the night.
It was like 12, 1, 2 maybe.
So the gentleman here was pulling these antics on his girlfriend. Sounds odd, right? Well, the defendant had a valid reason for it. Turns out that Miss Phillips had chosen another guy over him at the party. That's why the moment he got back, the intolerant man got rid of her.
He kind of just ignores that I'm even there. I'm asking her, I said, hey, you going with me or not? So she want to stay here with the guy that I just got into an altercation with.
Why is it if you came to the party with him and you guys were together when there was an altercation, why didn't you leave with him?
I've been around that family for years, and I know how they work.
Okay, don't fall for this anticipation so fast, because Miss Phillips only stayed to defuse the situation. In her words, she had been on the same course for years and thought it would be the best move to cool things down.
Trying to keep it down because they was ready to go to the house.
So out of protection for him, you were just trying to diffuse it and say, I'm just gonna stay.
Exactly.
After that, it follows up. I go to Miami with a friend of mine. 2 days later, I get a call from a mutual friend that says she was involved in an event.
I called you and told you.
My mutual friend told me first.
Next came the promiscuous part. Mr. Gibbs told the court how one of his acquaintances told him about sleeping with the plaintiff, and even she confessed. But baby mama testified that she was no swindler.
Yes,
Originally, she told me that was her brothers, her real fleshly brothers.
Yes,
I asked her several
I told him
times.
all this. This is what I told him.
Miss Phillips admitted to cheating.
Yes, I did.
She told me that, but when I first got back, told me that she didn't. Stayed for about a month and a half until finally she broke out and said, yeah, I did cheat, but it wasn't with who I was with that night.
So the trust is going out the window, but you're still with her?
I'm still with her.
After that, trust was drained out of their relationship. None of them had respect for each other, especially the alleged father. He had stooped to calling his woman names and rubbing infidelity in her face.
What I'm gathering is
God,
that this relationship was messy. You end up pregnant.
Yes. The question up is it mine? And I'm like, okay, you feel like it's not yours, how? We haven't unprotected sex since we've been talking.
But things didn't go better from there either, because Mr. Gibbs told that the mama at the podium made things worse by vanishing. When the judge asked Miss Phillips' reason for it, she disclosed the mistreatment she had to go through. But this wasn't an excuse for the potential dad.
You go and take off 800 miles away. You go to Tampa. You down there. You done left me up here high and dry. You're not worried about me. I'm calling. I'm trying to maintain a long distance relationship.
So I
but
left.
how much can I do this when I'm not at doctor's appointments? I'm not there doing the pregnancy of this child. The labor of this child.
The defendant was left out of the pregnancy experience. Based on these actions, Mr. Gibbs was washing his hands of the pregnancy. And even his sister backed up his assumptions. In her mind, no one should move away from the father for the sake of the child.
You don't even have a paternity test because they both were seeing other people. She was seeing other people and he was seeing other people. And he told me around the time that the baby was conceived or when she found out she was pregnant, it didn't add up. She was seeing other people and they weren't really together like that.
You were married, you were cheating, and you were tit for tat, and you break up, and then you get back together, and then potentially create a child, and still arguing about it.
The judge was right. All of this is just so messy. Both were doing things just to hurt each other, and their relationship was keeping the poor child from having both parents in his life. Time to get that result and settle this down.
Mr. Gibbs, this court has determined that you are her father.
That's it.
Miss Davis knows that too much lovemaking with random guys has landed her in paternity court. But for the sake of her son, Javion, she is ready to go down this ride. So, with 4 potential fathers on the list, Davis v. Smith started like this.
Mr. Smith, you argue that Ms. Davis actually told you were not her son's father. And you say you just had a brief sexual relationship and you don't want to take care of a child that isn't yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
The mother also grew up without a father. All of her childhood went from jumping from one foster home to another, and the pain of being unwanted was clear on her face. Even the judge knew how desperate this mother was.
Well, practically a hoe of myself when I was of that age.
It's okay.
And it just means everything to me for my son to know who his father is. I mean, my son's my world. I would do anything for that little boy.
But things were not this simple, as the mommy herself had told the defendant that he was not the father. And we all know how that spell works. Now he was sure that he wasn't the father. This brought us to the conception calendar, which had an accurate, explicit timeline.
You all basically spend a solid week being intimate. Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor. It was just a fling or, a holiday fling,
Apart from the ex-boyfriend, all of this was from the chat line. The baby mama got in touch with them and chatted a bit, and then you know what happened. The shocker was that Miss Davis didn't even remember the name of the fourth potential father.
Potential father number 4. Who is that?
He was a one-night stand. I don't remember his name.
After having this experience that you voluntarily participated in, you're not feeling too good about yourself.
No, I mean, I know I made mistakes, Your Honor. I don't consider my son a mistake.
That's a good thing.
Next, it was revealed that after getting a hardcore denial from the ex-boyfriend, the plaintiff started her daddy hunt, which showed the first 2 contenders were not the father. That left the defendant and the no-name guy in the potential father's run.
So now we're left with Mr. Smith and potential father number 4. Now I remember you saying with potential father number 4, you don't know where he is.
I don't even know his name, Your Honor.
You don't even know his name. Wow.
The irony was that even though Miss Davis believed Mr. Smith was the baby daddy, still, he wasn't her best pick, because the guy was a total mama's boy. Well, you should have considered that before messing around with him. But nonetheless, that guy needed to step up.
You slept with her for a week or more right during the window of conception. So you have to acknowledge that, right?
Yes, Your Honor. But I still feel like he doesn't look like me or favor me whatsoever, Your Honor.
Have you met Javion?
Yes, I only met him once, Your Honor. I felt kind of scared, Your Honor, because I felt like he didn't know me and I felt like a total stranger, Your Honor.
Well, that is how any normal child acts around strangers, sir. I mean, both parents were in the same state. Still, the guy made no effort to connect with his potential child. But in Mr. Smith's opinion, Mommy is a gold digger, only in it for the money. The judge schools him for not being there for him.
What if she just wants to know who her child father is after she admittedly made a lot of mistakes?
Yes, Your Honor. I want to know because I never had a father because he died when I was 3 years old of prostate cancer.
So it is important to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
If it's determined that Javion is your son, I'm sure you want to be there for him.
Yes, Your Honor. I want to make up for the 2 years I missed.
2 years of mystery have brought Javion's mother here, as none of the men filled the paternity void, which left her no choice but to force the alleged for a test. Let's see if the result will end her search.
Mr. Smith, you are not Javion's father.
Wifey here refuses to add another woman's child to her family because she thinks so. Miss McLean is using the one night of passion to pin someone else's baby on them.
You say your daughter is the product of a night of passion gone wrong, and you are certain Mr. Strong is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, this paternity dispute is the result of a consensual threesome. Yeah, it was a proper mix of confusion. The shocking part was that it was the idea of Mrs. Strong. She convinced her reluctant husband to take such a swing.
We had a threesome, had a good time that night. We discussed everything beforehand of what, possibilities could be.
What possibilities?
She did get pregnant, of which we were under the understanding there was a medical reason she couldn't.
Okay, that was a little hard to comprehend. They had everything planned, so they were very thorough, and it was revealed that they did it more than once, and even continued after the birth.
2.5 to 3 weeks after we had our very first threesome, I found out I was pregnant.
And you said you had 8 of them.
Correct.
So you were still having threesomes with them through your pregnancy?
And after.
Well, it makes sense that she was claiming that Mr. Strong was the father. The only downside was that Miss McLean was dating someone else at the time and ruled him as the father first.
We were, I don't know how to explain it, we were a very passionate couple, I guess. We had intercourse a lot. So I'm not thinking, okay, maybe 1 or 2 times with them.
But 1 or 2 times before you found out you were pregnant.
Right, they would have been the dad. I thought the gentleman I was with at the time was the father.
Further, it was revealed that the other guy was an African man, but the baby looked nothing like him. Plus, he was already tested, and it was proven that he wasn't the father.
So, regardless of race, he's ruled out.
Yes.
Were you there at the hospital when the baby was born?
We didn't know the baby was born. We heard from a third party that she had had her. We weren't even notified.
Even after that, the defendant contacted the Strongs right out of the blue, asking them to step up for the baby, which they did, regardless of the obvious doubts in their heart. While Miss McLean explained herself like this.
My daughter has a lot of Douglas's tendencies. Holding on her ears when she's tired or she's frustrated, Douglas does that. His yabba dabba doo feet, the Flintstone feet that he has, my daughter has. His laugh, my daughter has that laugh.
It was the defendant waiting for a while that instigated the dispute, because the couple was stepping up either way. They loved the baby and took her in as theirs.
If this is positive, and they already call her their sister.
That's a beautiful little girl. You opened this case because you said you don't believe.
There's a 50-50 chance because I see a lot of features that could be mine, and then I also see a lot of features that aren't mine. See, I'm part Hispanic family. I mean, I do have a little bit of Irish in me. I mean, I'm just trying to be certain because I grew up without a father.
Regardless of their dynamic, all of them were concerned about the child. The Strong family wanted to be done with every ounce of doubt, as they couldn't shake off the medical accident or another potential daddy part.
She said she had an accident, which we knew about the accident, that she couldn't have children from. That's what we looked at. Otherwise, we would have used other protection.
And so once Angel got here, you said this innocent little baby deserves nothing less than our love and our support, and we welcome her into our family.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of this sounds very big to them, right? Well, they wouldn't be in this situation if they hadn't gone for the three-way. So the judge asked Mrs. Strong what made her go for such wild ventures. And the reply was this.
This is fun for you, huh, Ms.
No,
Strong?
it is not fun for me at all.
No, I'm talking about the threesomes.
I'd rather him do it with me than behind my back.
Oh!
Okay. Before they made me look bad, most of the threesomes were her idea.
They were.
That's what I felt like.
That's what I'm saying. Like, before I get looked like a jerk or something. Like.
So Wifey had all the things played out to control her husband. In her mind, every man wants to cheat, but she would rather let him do it in front of her. Wow, quite manipulative, don't you think?
If it's determined that Angel is your husband's biological child, what happens in your relationship? Does the dynamic get weird? What happens?
I have absolutely no issue.
But in this case, the three of you are intimate and the baby was made with you in the bed.
A gift from God is how I'm gonna look at her.
Huh, that's a lot of forward thinking, which was good for the baby girl. I'm not sure how this trio is going to manage. So before going to the envelope, the judge asked the baby mama if they should look out for paternity surprises. Ms. McLean negated. So let's see what happens then.
When it comes to 14-month-old Angel McLean, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Strong, you are not the father.